It's a miracle of technology. A new hope from CES. Patrick Norton and Jennie Josephson have once again pulled off the impossible.
We found bandwidth. Knocks on wood.
Where did you find it?
On my phone. So I'm going to chew through a gigabit in the next 40 minutes, probably.
All right. Well, maybe we should get the show going then.
It's all good. I'm up to 15 gigabytes now. And it's an expense.
It's a business expense. You know, I had to keep bumping up my limit, and then when I finally looked in to figure out why, it was because my mom had installed a bingo app that was eating up the data.
Oh,
and we were on a family plan.
That's so perfect. Should I elevate my camera since it's down here and try to not have the up the nose cam, or
if you
do I
can,
look okay?
Yeah.
Oh,
look at
that.
Use
my pack.
Teamwork.
What's gonna work?
That's important.
Whoa! Now we have keyboard view. That's actually kind of cool. I like it. All right. Well, video viewers, hope you enjoyed that. We're going to do the show now. The tech awakens. Actually, I haven't seen the chat room.
Release the tech. Release the Kraken.
You ready, Scott?
Mm-hmm.
You ready, Jenny?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Jenny's ready.
I heard that. I heard. All right. I think we're really
she was
live.
waving and looking at me expectantly, but I was too stupid to figure it out.
Here we go.
Without advertising, your radio station would sound like this. Without your support on patreon.com, the Daily Tech News Show would sound like this. We thank you for your support. dailytechnewsshow.com/support.
This is the Daily Tech News for Wednesday, January 5th, 2016. I'm Tom Merritt. Joining me today, as he does most Wednesdays, back in the new year, Mr. Scott Johnson. How are you?
I'm fine. I really missed you while you were gone. It was weird.
Me too.
Wednesday shows with Tom Merritt talking about all the tech. So I'm really glad to be here. The news is so bright this week from CES. I'm wearing Gunners.
Yeah. I'm wearing those new Oakleys that Intel is partnering with or something. I'm sure there's a million smart glasses. In fact, to help us wade through the thigh-high pile of products at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, Mr. Patrick Norton is joining us, who by hook or by crook has found bandwidth. How did you do it, Patrick?
I'm not saying, because if anybody hears me, they'll jump in, and then I'll drop off the podcast, and Jenny will beat me to death with the nearest heavy object.
Secret bandwidth. It was an impressive team effort. That's all I'm going to say. And big thanks to Jennie Josephson, who's at CES as well. Got to rub elbows with the FAA earlier, and all kinds of cool stuff.
And didn't get arrested.
Not yet.
Well, I stayed within my designated airspace.
Under 400 feet outside of an airport.
You filed a flight plan, registered yourself. Smart move. So anyway, we are going to go through a bunch of the CES headlines. We're going to talk about some of the things that Patrick has seen, some of the things Jenny has seen, some of the things Scott and I have seen from the outside, and try to help you figure out what are the significant things coming out of day one of CES, which, Patrick, as we all know, day one means that the show's pretty much over now.
Well, it's funny. It used to be the show was pretty much over by day one, but it seems like so much dog piles news-wise on day one that companies are spreading out their product announcements. But the reality is, if you talk to somebody like Robert Heron or somebody like, Sasha Sagan over at PC Mag, they knew everything that was coming and had most of their articles written a week ago, a month ago, days ago, and then come here to do meetings and actually visually inspect the products that they already got the press releases on. You know, I don't know. It's crowded and people are happy. And at the Intel keynote, Gary Shapiro, the man of the CTA and CES, basically said this is the largest one they've ever had in the history of CES. It's huge. It is everywhere. You cannot get away from it anywhere in Las Vegas except for the Double Down Saloon.
I would like to think that Robert and Sasha got enough advanced knowledge that they were able to kick back at the Double Down Saloon, but I'm betting that's still not the case.
Sasha probably. Oops, sorry.
I was just going to ask you, when you say that they've got all these press releases way ahead of time, and everybody kind of knows what's on the table, and they get there and inspect it and have a lot of meetings, but do you get the sense at all that there's still something somebody's holding back? Do we have any kind of concrete ideas of who that might be and when we might hear it?
There's always something else coming out. I mean, there's always announcements at the show. There's always stuff that people don't pre-announce. Like, somebody like Robert Heron, who's worked intimately with every HD TV manufacturer for a decade, right? There's a huge relationship there, so there's lots of information going. But there's always things you don't expect to see. Or, like I was mocking, like, LG and Samsung, they're going to have everything from cell phones to dishwashers. And I actually saw a washing machine I was really excited about from Samsung. So there's always new stuff coming out. There's always secret stuff. There's always an opportunity to see products in real life that you've only seen pictures of. And so there's always some company you've never heard of out of nowhere that's doing something really interesting in your area. And that's why you're here and taking meetings or just running around the show floor looking at all the shiny new objects.
All right. Well, there is so much stuff. So let's take a look at some of the more significant ones in the headlines. Robots that serve drinks, Cortana showing up in cyanogen on a OnePlus phone, LETV, the company that's funding Faraday Future Motors, putting out a Snapdragon 820 powered phablet. But here are what we think are the most significant stories. Netflix had its keynote at CES and ended by launching its service in 130 more countries, meaning almost everyone on Earth can get it unless they live in China, North Korea, Syria, or Crimea. Netflix also added support for Arabic, Korean, and simplified and traditional Chinese. Further languages are still in development. And Netflix and LG are partnering to offer prepaid access to Netflix. So if you live in a place where, maybe it's not as easy to just subscribe with a credit card as is in other places, you can do the prepaid plan. We also got new sizzle trailers for Netflix originals The Crown, which is about the life, especially the early life of Elizabeth II, starring Matt Smith as Philip, and The Get Down, which is about the rise of disco culture in the Bronx and New York City in the mid-'70s.
I love that these two titles could not have less to do with one another. It's a nice show of diversity.
I would like them to be one show called The Crown and The Get Down, where Queen Elizabeth is taught the moves of disco.
That'd be fantastic. Oculus opened up pre-orders for the Oculus Rift Wednesday morning as expected. Scott bought his this morning for $599. Ooh, Tom,
kind of my fault. I apologize.
It's okay. You drove me to what I was probably driving to anyway and probably got it a month earlier than I would have. Anyway, the $599 is what you're going to pay, and you're going to get the headset. This is US dollars. The headset, Xbox One controller, and an Oculus remote, and a place in line for the touch controller pre-orders. Now, they have a little disclaimer on there saying these may not come to market at all. All you're doing is reserving a little slot in there because the FCC still has to approve them. Let's see. This is what else you're going to get with the thing. Comes with Lucky's Tale. We talked about that this morning on TMS. Access to Eve Valkyrie. That is a launch day product for them. That's one I'm very excited about. And a promise of more than 100 titles available by the end of the year. This includes Minecraft, kind of a system seller, some would say. Bundles include including a Rift and Oculus Ready PC will be available in February for $14.99. That's $1,499. Shipping to 20 countries. Started at this happens on March 28th, and that date has slipped and slipped and slipped. Mine says May. I'd heard from somebody just a few minutes ago that told me June or July. So if you're not in already, you better hurry before 2016 is gone.
Yeah, so the debate that starts with who's going to buy this thing is all of those people. Now, obviously, we don't know how many they're producing, but the date seems to be slipping rather fast. So people are definitely buying them.
Was there also a story that if you had been on the original Kickstarter for Oculus that you would be able to buy one of these or get one of these?
You get one for free.
That's pretty awesome.
They're just going to ship it to you to confirm your shipping address with them. You had to be at the $250 level, which is the level you needed to get the developer kit or more. And then, you're doing it right by people. What do you guys think of $599? Or I think even more significantly is the idea that they'll get you an Oculus Ready PC and the Rift for an additional, what is that, 15 minus 6, $900. A $900 Oculus Ready PC seems like a deal.
Yes.
It's not bad, right? I mean, the video card we know needs to be GeForce 970 or greater. So one would assume that this box is going to ship with at least that. That's a $399 card right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm relatively impressed. I mean, you've built a lot of PCs from nothing, Patrick. $900. You can do a lot with $900, but this still seems like a pretty good deal.
No, I think it's a really good deal. There's still a lot of people who don't want to build their own PC, which is a perfectly reasonable reaction to being like, I'm going to go to PC Parts Picker and I'm going to get yelled at because I want to buy that GPU and not this GPU because that GPU is bundled with a game that I don't want. So to basically, or if you're a developer or if you have kids, just to have the box show up and be able to use it. Given the number of like $3,000 gaming PCs I've seen in the last 24 hours, which is 3 more than I expected to see at all at CES, there's obviously people who have no problem with creating overpriced PCs. 900 sounds really, really reasonable. I just want to know, like, I just want titles. I mean, as soon as Minecraft ships, it's game over for like half the potential audience. But I'm really curious to see how many games come out or how many anythings come out, because that was the big thing about the Oculus demo last year. It was the first time that I didn't, immediately start getting queasy within the first 2 minutes, and B, they went beyond sort of like the demos were just so radically different in so many interesting ways. Now I want to see some of those things turn into actual end user applications or products or whatever we want to call it, showing up and being usable.
And even more than games, I'm very excited to see. We've talked about this on the show before, but it feels like Oculus, maybe more than HTC Vive and Valve, and maybe more than even PlayStation, they seem to be less focused on making sure this is a premier gaming device or that's a platform to build games for, and more focused on what else can we do with it. And in a way, that gives them an edge, even if this price ends up being higher than everybody else or whatever. I think they've got a real chance to do unique stuff that isn't just, hey, I'm in a spaceship.
Well, my running joke was like I had a complete lack of filtration moment when somebody's like, I don't understand why Facebook bought Oculus Rift, and I was like, virtual makeouts. And just the room, like the dinner stopped for like 30 seconds, like you could hear the cat licking itself in the other room in the house. Like it was that quiet. And people are like, well, kids do that? I just stared, and everybody thought about being a teenager, and the conversation eventually resumed on a completely different topic that everybody mutually agreed on. But it's like, I was just, as soon as I saw Facebook, all I could think was like teenagers and virtual hookups. And everybody's going to think that, really Snapchat wasn't all that bad after all.
Well, and diversification. I mean, I'm sure there will be I know there will be a Facebook app for Oculus Rift, but that's not the main reason to have it. The main reason to have it is that the Oculus takes off and becomes a really successful product and allows Facebook to have 2 very successful divisions, and arguably 3 if you count Instagram.
Or WhatsApp 4.
Or WhatsApp 4,
They seem so much more focused on an ecosystem, which has proved to be an enormous cash cow for the likes of Apple and others who have created a platform and then supporting a structure and ecosystem that make it awesome. And I think they want that. It appears to me that they want that more than anything. What they're doing with Gear VR and what we know is coming with Oculus Prime seems to me like that's the notion they're going with. And if that's the case, I think that's ultimately, whether we know it or not, what we want, because we want to be able to say, how am I justifying this $599 thing with this 360-degree movie, with this weird pre-animated thing, with these games I got? Like, all of this diversity is what will win the day for them if they're serious about this, and clearly they are.
Intel CEO Brian Krzanich gave the CES opening keynote last night by rolling in on what is often referred to as a hoverboard, though it doesn't actually hover, which he revealed can transform into a personal robot. Part of an open platform coming to developers in the second half of 2016. It's also one of several products using Intel's RealSense 3D camera, including the Unique, spelled Y-U-N-E-E-C, Unique Typhoon H-UAV. So it's a drone. There's an augmented reality DAQRI smart helmet with thermal vision, so you can see in through walls at things like pipes. That's coming in Q1 2016. The Ion VR mobile headset that works with smartphones, does some VR of its own, shipping early this year, but it also has the RealSense 3D cameras on it. We also saw Radar Pace smart glasses in partnership with Oakley and a smart sports watch from New Balance. And finally, Intel promised to increase diversity in its own workforce and plans to help Vox Media and some other folks combat online harassment.
Well, there you go. Did you see this robots thing, hoverboard thing, Patrick?
Yes.
I'm very curious about that. How did that?
It was really so it's a Segway. That's a robot essentially. Because there was a really sort of painful emotional moment where I was like, oh no, it feels very early. It feels very raw. In the sense that, the guy when they're using it as a Segway, it's like fast and high speed and amazing, and then it goes into robot mode, and it's very kind of like picking its way along like a 2-year-old trying to figure out where in the dangerous things under the cabinet are. That sort of So it seems very, very early. You know, they attached ARMs to it, which was very, very exciting for the developer. I thought it was really cool seeing, you know, they had the crazy little Curie processors, and they were announcing like partnerships with Red Bull and ESPN, where they're taking, this is one of the wristbands they gave to everybody in the audience. So, you know, it's incredible tiny power sipping system, and what they were doing was mapping in real time like BMX tricks, so kids were leaping from ramp to ramp, and it was actually identifying the trick in real time, the speed, the g-forces, the vector of the movement and everything. And then they had a whole video that Red Bull put together and for the X Games. So I thought that was really interesting to watch the remote sensors. That was more interesting to me than the robots. And the same sensors being used, or the same processors being used in those radar-paced smart glasses. And they did a very highly produced video with like the 3-time winner of the Ironman triathlon, where it was coaching him in real time, where it was monitoring all of his Bluetooth sensors and then telling him his pace is too fast, his pace is too slow, you know, monitoring his training in real time, and actually monitoring all of his heartbeat, his respiration as best it could. I thought that was really fascinating to watch an actual physical product that's going to ship and actually do that kind of monitoring, because you know, data plus analysis equals a plan that you can execute on, and that was really cool.
Yeah, a flashy robot on stage, I guess, is impressive, but it's more impressive, I think, to see products that are near ready that are doing things.
Yeah, or just watching, you know, watching the kids on the bicycles, like they launched tricks, and it was, you know, dumping all of the data in real time, and that was really fascinating. Then they took the same processor and put them on a parkour enthusiast, and it was amazing to watch him. That was part of the Red Bull thing. Watch him do these amazing flips, running and jumping, and seeing like how many G's is he hitting with, what is he doing, and identifying the movements they're doing in real time. That was fascinating to me. So maybe my inner esports enthusiast, extreme sports enthusiast, not esports, but they had esports in it too, and Bollywood extravaganza numbers. It was a little unhinged even for a CES presentation.
Well, we all
Samsung-like, it sounds like.
Yeah, it does. Yes. Samsung. And also everyone's got a little Tony Hawk in them, so don't worry about it. Snapchat, speaking of a company that will probably have an app for VR at some point, and that's my prediction, Snapchat is shutting down its Lens store on Friday. This is only 2 months after the launch. If you remember, this was the rash of Vines and Instagrams you saw come out that they'd pull these things out of Snapchat, and it was people with clown faces or throwing up rainbows or whatever. It was that stuff. Anyway, it's only been 2 months as the lenses that let you do these funny things are going away, and instead they are, or sorry, I guess these videos showed up with rotating 10 lenses, but Snapchat says they're going to focus on its ad business, including sponsored lenses. So lenses aren't necessarily going away, but they will likely come perhaps in a different monetized form.
Well, yeah, you get a certain amount of free lenses every day, and then you have to pay for the ones like the Rainbow Vomit, which is excellent, right? So you want to pay 99 cents to own that one. And what they're doing is they're saying, well, you know, we'll just have 10 free ones every day, and they're going to sell those. They sell them for hundreds of thousands of dollars, sometimes close to $1 million for a day to have a branded lens in there. So if people are using them, they might as well just give them to them for free. And if you bought the Rainbow Vomit, you get to keep it, and they say they won't put it in the free rotation right away, so you still get some benefit of having paid your 99 cents for that. Or any of the ones, not just the Rainbow Vomit.
Yeah. You know, if there's one thing you can say about 2015, we paid way too much for Rainbow Vomit.
Yeah, the price of Rainbow Vomit is coming down in 2016.
It's also my least favorite Pretty Pony or whatever.
The CES Fridge Decks number is ramping up with Samsung's official announcement of its Tizen-powered refrigerator. We knew you wanted to know the details on this. An app from MasterCard is included on the fridge, lets you order groceries right from the 21.5-inch screen on the fridge door. It can combine carts from multiple services, starting with Fresh Direct and ShopRite, with more stores to come. Screen can mirror a Samsung Smart TV. Cameras take pictures of the contents inside the fridge, so you don't have to open the door to see how much milk is left. And you have speakers that can play music or even send music to other Bluetooth speakers. Coming to the U.S. in May. No price announced yet. Wow. I mean, Patrick, correct me if I'm wrong, but that feels like poster child CES product, does it not?
It is a poster child CES product. It was I will say, first of all, the Samsung presser was much more contained than in the past. It was very fast moving for Samsung. It didn't have a whole lot of bizarre moments in the sense of trying to force celebrity craziness in there. I actually looked at this, and all I could think of was like, this is the refrigerator that everyone with a Tesla is going to buy, because it has an even bigger screen. It's the first refrigerator refrigerator that had the Internet of Things connection that I didn't look at it and be like, that's completely useless, because essentially it's a decent computer in the front of the screen and it's got a decent screen on it. I'm curious to see what the Samsung applications are going to be like. The picture, I want to make fun of the pictures inside the fridge, but it's the closest to a useful weird feature on a CES fridge that I've ever seen at this point. Because, you know, whether you're not be able to see anything, it's just hysterical that you can like monitor your food or find out if the light. Oh wait, the light won't be off because it has to be
the light
on
stays on. It takes a picture and then turns the light off. Yeah. So and
It's
then you
the
can
most
just look at the
bizarre
most
thing.
recent picture, because presumably gnomes are not getting in and messing with it, so your food will still be in the same state it was.
I like
although
the
mold
idea.
might be growing.
Yeah.
I mean, and this might be something, Scott, you can jump in on the idea of, you know, now I just want to glue a tablet to my cheap ass refrigerator from Costco, because all I could think was like, I can give my kids control of the music or some basic sort of ability to post things or move things around. It's so close to being an actual usable product. Like the Samsung AdWash I was in love with. It's a front-loading refrigerator with a door, and you can pull open the door and throw in like the missing pair of underwear that your
You
kids
mean laundry?
you know,
It's a
left-
laundry.
Sorry,
Yeah.
it is a laundry washing. You know, it is a laundry machine. It is a washing machine for your clothes, and you can pop. You know, you can pop the front of it open, this little porthole in the front of it, and throw in that last thing you want to stuff in there. And that to me, like, I want to make fun of that, but literally in the last 3 weeks, of a half dozen times, I've had to stop, you know, the washing machine, wait for it to, you know, release the security lock on the door, and throw something else in. I can't mock it. It's an actual thing I want, and I just have a 6 months old washing machine, so I'm ruined. I'm devastated that I can't buy the new washing machine. It'll probably be like, but it'll be glorious.
Well, these are the things that make these things useful, and so I think that some of that stuff's going to flesh out as they get cooler and into more homes. But the thing about the fridge and other integrated systems like this that I don't think I'm on board with, and you could probably have a whole show about this, so I don't know how much you want to say, but it's an interesting topic, like having a big 21.5-inch screen, probably the size flat screen you remember seeing at a very early CES,
Right.
early coverage as a TV, but now is in our fridges. But having this integration in there, being able to order straight out of there and all of that, I think it's cool,
Right.
but it requires you to be, I hate the term walled garden, but it requires you to be in Samsung's configuration.
Yes,
I wish
and that's the nightmare.
Yeah, what I want is like, give me a great fridge that's an Internet of Things fridge that I can attach a tablet to. Let me take
You want App Link. You want App Link for fridges.
Yes.
Right? An open
just-
platform that anyone can develop their app for and hook into, so that then you can just have your app. MasterCard can make that app. You can put it on your Android device and then just integrate it into your fridge. That would be amazing.
And also not have it be
An obscure operating system that's not going to be updated in 18 months, so that it'll slowly become more and more crippled,
now
but will taunt
Tizen
you
fans are
because
coming
you're
for you.
Fine, bring it. I'll go meet you in the parking lot. Me and Jenny got bats. Bring it.
Yeah, bring it on. I guess what I'm saying is it just seems like modular is the better way to go. My brother-in-law that just maxed out his house in home automation, but
Right.
none of it gets torn out by a piece and upgraded. It's the entire thing or nothing, and that drives me slightly insane. So when I see things like this, I just think it's a little too integrated. Give me separation, but maybe I'm.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm alone.
In all seriousness, I don't mind it being Tizen as long as it's interoperable with other devices. I don't care what
It's
operating
maintained
system.
over time.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm told, Scott, you're on it. I mean, and that's kind of the thing. We're seeing so many things that are so much more open at CES this year in terms of Internet of Things, but there's still so much stupid between you and the simple, achievable results you'd like for your home automated in a mirror. It's so close.
yeah,
It's so
there's
close.
a good show title in there somewhere, Tom. Don't forget that one.
The Internet of Stupid.
Casio announced a new rugged Android Wear watch called the WSD-F10. Boy, that really rolls off your tongue. It features LCD/LED touchscreen, 1-day battery life, which is pretty good, rugged case and band, an internal altimeter, a barometer, a compass. This all ships in spring for $500 US. Everybody trying to get in. I have seen a lot of wearable talk, and the Casio was a big deal yesterday when I was watching this stuff.
And they're known for making the hiking watch now, the ruggedized watches. So making a smartwatch is a logical move, and I think people who want to take this kind of thing out on a hike with them might be excited about it. Issue is 24-hour battery life. If you're really into trekking, you may be out for more than 24 hours. You're going to want something that's got more battery life than that, I think. French tech company Withings unveiled the $69 coin-shaped Go activity tracker. Features an e-ink display with up to 8 months of battery life. Now we're talking. The Go tracks steps, distance, running, sleep, and swimming strokes, and automatically switches monitoring between them. It's water resistant up to 5 atmospheres. That's about 50 meters underwater. Data is shared with the Withings HealthMate app for either Android or iOS and will be available Q1 2016. The Withings Go.
It seems all
Put
right.
on the injectables. No.
Well, at one point, okay, so that brings up a good point. If you get an injectable and it's doing all this tracking for you, and you want to go, let's say, 6 atmospheres below the surface, your injectable will pop out and explode your artery or something like that, right? Do we ever have those in us? Those scare me a little bit.
They just scare you because you haven't had one yet.
Diving that low doesn't apparently scare him, but having one of these inside of him.
Good point. I mean, I'm all about trackers and me walking into a store and having it go, oh, it's Scott Johnson, and he has bought these things, and he can just walk out of here, and it's all paid for. Like, I'm all into that implantable. Bring it. But I just don't want the one that's going to pop in the off chance that I ever care about diving deep.
I don't know. I think they're all going to be wired to explode if we irritate somebody at the corporate level, but that's the optimist in me.
Good point. Microsoft will end support for IE at 8, 9, and 10. That's Internet Explorer for those not in the know. This is next Tuesday.
Woo!
I know, right? On January 12th, a final patch release will fix a few bugs and encourage users to upgrade to IE 11 or Microsoft Edge. According to the Next Web, the NAG screen will be bypassed in enterprise versions of the registry. 11 is the latest supported version of IE. 8, 9, and 10 gone on.
It can be bypassed if you do a registry hack.
Well, sure, yeah. They're just, it's by default in the enterprise stuff, right?
But yeah, the Microsoft cleaning house. Man, Microsoft Edge had a little dip in adoption recently, and that's no surprise because of the number of enterprises that use Internet Explorer. So I wonder if this getting rid of 8, 9, and 10 will at least move more consumers over to Edge, or whether people will go IE 11. Be interesting to see.
Yeah.
These are all on machines that haven't been updated in the last 5 years.
Yeah. Wired's Andy Greenberg has an excellent write-up of a cryptography project from David Chaum, discussed at Real World Crypto Conference at Stanford on Wednesday. The system is called PrivateTegrity, uses a new kind of mixed network, and David Chaum's the guy who coined the term mixed network and invented a lot of the ways of doing mixed network cryptography. It uses a mixed network with 9 servers and is hoped to be more secure and efficient than Tor or I2P. It allows, on the other hand, a sort of a backdoor decryption that would be used to stop criminals if and only if all 9 server administrators agreed to cooperate. And the idea would be to put the 9 servers under the control of different organizations in 9 different parts of the world. An alpha version of PrivateTegrity is in development for Android as an instant messaging app and is hoped to come out Q1 2016. Highly encourage you, if you're into this sort of thing, to go read the full Wired article, because it's not as nuts as it sounds. If there is a way to offer some sort of third-party decryption, this is certainly the most reasonable version I've heard, because getting 9 people to agree on anything is a problem. The question is, can you get the right 9 people to set this up? Can you get enough people using it, et cetera, et cetera? But
there's also the fact that it's going to be, if it's 9 different countries, then they have the privacy laws in 9 different countries to deal with, which if you pick a random sampling of European countries is much more serious than, say, anywhere in the United States right now.
Well, and the Netherlands just said, we're not going to legislate backdoors. So there you go, 1. Put 1 in the Netherlands.
Keep to go. Sure. TechCrunch reports its sources say Facebook has given select developers access to an unannounced chat SDK to build helpful bots in Messenger and for things like shopping, travel, and more. You can use these bots for information, to buy things, whatever you need. That's the idea.
So you remember M, right, which was Facebook's project to create the All bot. This seems to be a competition to that, but I think the idea is to get lots of people using Messenger to ask information and go with helpful bots might make M more palatable when it finally becomes available to everybody that isn't a celebrity.
That's a good point.
Dell announced new models for Enterprise in its Latitude, Ultrabook, and Infinity Edge display lines. One new display grabbing attention is the Ultra Sharp 24 and 23-inch wireless monitors. They use Miracast and can display content from a Windows laptop and an Android mobile device at the same time. They'll be available March 31st, starting at $469 and $429 respectively, or you could drop $4,999 on the UltraSharp 30, which doesn't have the wireless sync thing, but it is an OLED Ultra HD 4K display.
Yeah, I really like Dell displays lately. These sound nice.
I love the idea. This is a classic CES product, by the way. The thing that's like, ooh, you can do Android and Windows laptop wireless on one display. And then you try to think of the use cases for that.
All I want to know is at that price, if it's one of their ultra sharp monitors, if it's 2560 by 1440, then it's a deal for the screen quality. The
4K one? You mean?
Yeah, well, the 4K one's way out of my league, but the 24 and 23 inch ones.
Oh, for $469. Yeah, that is a steal. You're right.
That's. I just want to see if they're high resolution, then I don't care. I don't so much about Miracast and Android. I just want to get a decent monitor at an amazing price. So,
yeah,
I hunger for the new monitors.
Yeah, me too. I don't know what it is, but I'm at a weird place where I'm ready for whatever's next in monitors, and I'm hoping that whatever's next isn't extremely expensive. And I know 4K is at the moment.
I'm fine with my CRTs. I don't know what you guys do.
Yeah, you and your big. That thing's making you shrink, if you know what I'm saying. Next up, Twitter has missed a deadline. Oh my gosh, they were supposed to pay 150,000 lira. This was a fine. That's 50,000 US dollars, by the way, levied by the BTK Communications Technology Authority for not removing content the Turkish government called, quote, terrorist propaganda, unquote. Reuters reports Turkey's transport minister, I'm going to say his name right here.
Binali Yıldırım.
There you go. Says the government will not give up its demand. That was totally my voice and not pre-recorded.
Well said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just the latest in the ongoing fights between Turkey and all social networks over what gets published and who's responsible for it. But it looks like Turkey's not going to let it drop, and Twitter's not going to pay it. So we'll see what happens next. General Motors unveiled the fully electric Chevy Bolt today. It's a real car, not a concept. Built on its own architecture, not borrowed from another car. Has a range of more than 200 miles, price of about $30,000. That's after a $7,500 U.S. tax credit. Also has a 10.2-inch touchscreen. Pops up customized setups based on which phone is connected by Bluetooth, so it knows your different drivers. The companion app syncs through Bluetooth, LTE, and a BLE connection with up to 100 yards of range. It can charge within 80% full charge within an hour, and it's gamified with leaderboards, so all of your friends who have Volt can compete with you on things like miles per charge and et cetera, et cetera. 2017 Bolt EV will be in production this year, too. They're actually going to make it.
That leaderboard thing is weird to me. I don't know why. I mean, I'm all about gamifying most everything in my life, but that's weird.
Well, it's only weird because how many of your friends are going to have a Volt?
Yeah. I mean, I get it if, Patrick's got a mobile phone, I've got a mobile phone. We both happen to have the same stupid game we play, and we both check to see who's ahead of each other. It makes sense because we're in some sort of shared connective space. But with the car, unless everyone buys a Volt, I don't know. Maybe, it is possible the Volt could be the next Volkswagen Bug, and everybody wants one. And before
not at $37,000 before taxes.
True, but it could be like, I don't know. I'm thinking of things like Apple IIe fanatics back in the late 70s, early 80s. They were like, have their groups, and they were all hanging out and newsletters and everything, and you kind of create a community like that. Maybe that's what they're hoping with that. It's I don't know.
I've done a bunch of automotive apps and like OBD2 connected devices lately, and everybody's trying to do this sort of like leaderboard competition, gamify. You're going to be more eco, and you're going to compete with your friends, and they're going to be notified every time you drive somewhere, and it's all really kind of creepy, and it all seems really, really forced because they want to be social, because being on Facebook is going to make the car more famous, and everybody's going to want a Chevy Bolt because their friend is a Chevy Bolt, and they posted a new update on Facebook that they had like used the least amount of electricity ever. It's a weird sort of marketing social angle that I don't particularly see as being particularly useful.
Well, no, because it's not all cars. If every car could do this, like, oh, you just buy this little thing, shove it in your OBD port, and be on the leaderboard, then it might have a chance of working. I still don't think everybody would do it, but it could get some critical mass or enthusiasts. But when you only have it within single car models, maybe something like Tesla, where people are very enthusiastic, it can work. And I guess that's what Chevy is hoping for, is that Volt users will be so enthusiastic they'll all bond together and do this.
Yeah,
it's entirely possible. I'm not taking bets on it, but it's a thing that everywhere in automotive I turn around, somebody's got some new way of comparing yourself to other people in a way that's fundamentally ridiculous for the product.
Now, finally, before we wrap up here, we joke sometimes that every year we see the same things shown at CES. You know, here's the TVs, here's the new smartphone. But two items are pushing the boundaries this year, and they're pretty cool. Panasonic announced details of a new Technics turntable, bringing back the 1200. This one will be called the SL1200G. Coming in a special edition in summer. They're only making 1,200 of those. And then more wider availability in late 2016 for the non-special edition. Also, Kodak announced a new Eve Behar designed Super 8 camera coming this autumn, priced between $400 and $750, along with a roadmap for film development and post-production tools to come out.
I read a thing that Tarantino's all big on this. That Kodak thing seems real.
Oh, and J.J. Abrams is involved.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, there you go then. Maybe he can
That's
make
exciting.
Super
Man,
8
those
2.
direct drive Techniques turntables. That's what I grew up with at the radio
Wheels
stations I
of
worked
steel.
with. So good. So good. Now the question is, do you really want to pay what I don't know what the price is going to be on these. I couldn't find a price on them yet, but presumably they'll be more than a used version of a Techniques turntable would be. And there are used Techniques kicking around that are still solid.
Right.
But I do think it's very interesting that, you know, Sony had a turntable it announced in its keynote as well. Vinyl is definitely back at CES.
Yeah. Whether it's back in the hearts and minds of people at home to the degree that they hope so that they can make this boutique business grow, or maybe they don't even care about that. Maybe they just want to have the cool thing that makes...
Well, what this says is Panasonic retired the Techniques because they couldn't sell enough of them. What this says is, looks like we could sell enough of them again. And my wife came home one day. She works at YouTube, right? So she's around all these young kids and was like, hey, we should set up the turntable again. So we have the turntable set up.
Well, I know my daughter would love one of these. She's absolutely loves this kind of thing. She's collecting typewriters and tape cassette players as if they are ancient man devices. And this would be totally up her alley. So
I need your address so I can send you a box for your daughter.
That's fantastic. Well, that is an extended CES look at the headlines, everybody. Thanks for helping us figure out the headlines every day. Submit your stories and vote on them at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. That's a look at the headlines. All right, we covered the breadth of today's CES knowledge, but there's way more out there than you can ever cover in one show. Patrick has been walking the floors, going to the keynotes, as you can tell. What are some of the other things you've been noticing, Patrick, that have caught your eye?
So there's been a whole lot of 3D printing over the last couple of years, and of course, places like Brother have done sewing machines and cutting machines. But I thought everybody in the audience would really be excited about the Pico Brew, which is a $599 home brewing system.
Now, if you listen to the post-show audio of yesterday's show, Allison Sheridan covered this as well. And it's available in the treasure chest if you're a patron at the right level. But this is the new no, that's okay. I think this is the new secret hit of CES.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sober, so I'm not going to be able to enjoy this, but I was kind of amused and amazed. Like, they're going to make their money off the brew packs, which you basically have to, buy this box, I have this tub, shove it into the machine, add your water, hit the button, it cooks it, and about $2 later, I guess, 2 hours later, you either keg it or bottle it. That was highly amusing to me, the idea, because I know so many people who homebrew, like my cousin, for example, and it's like they either get really good at it or it's real hit and miss, and this is the idea that's going to deal with a lot of the issues of brewing. Brewing is a very tricky thing.
Oh, yeah.
So that was really amusing to see. There's a company called Elcan, and they do speakers, ELAC, my apologies. And a guy named Andrew Jones has been designing these unbelievably inexpensive, amazing-sounding speakers for Pioneer for years. He just came out with a new one for the Unify series. And everybody's been talking for several years. Kef came out with a speaker called the LS50, and everybody loves this speaker. It sounds extraordinary. And the crew at ELAC, this guy Andrew Jones, was like, you know what? That speaker sounds amazing. It costs way too much. So now he has this fantastic pair of bookshelf speakers that are going to be $500 in April. And if $500 is way too much because you're just starting to start out, they have another pair of speakers for $179 coming out, the debut line. And I'm always really, really excited when I because I just been listening to like a pair of like $50,000 or $80,000 speakers a few doors down. So to hear a $500 speaker that sounds unbelievable, $500 for a pair, not $500 each. Which, because usually when you're up in the Venetian, it's like $79,000, and of course you'll be wanting two. So to be in there and to hear like a $500 pair of speakers that blew my socks off out through my shoes, it was a little bit painful. I'm just really excited about that. Elax, the company, unifies the speaker, and then the debut line is going to be $179, and those are coming out in April. The Roost 9-volt smart battery for smoke alarms technically has been shipping for a few weeks on Amazon, but it's essentially a lithium-ion battery, and these guys are really frustrated. They saw a market opportunity because apparently there's like 500,000 false alarms for smoke alarms between 3 and 5 in the morning. And it turns out the reason there's false alarms at 3 and 5 in the morning is your alkaline battery drops and drops and drops in voltage, and then it's just on the upside of turning on the alarm, and then at 3 in the morning when the house cools down to its coldest point, the chemistry slows down enough that the voltage drops, the alarm goes off, and then the process of howling and then the house warming up prevents it from alarming again. So this actually, they just integrated with if then that. So it's a 9-volt battery with a little bit of networking and intelligence in it, so it can give you a signal as it starts to get to end of life, and it'll send you an email or a text message or whatever you set up, and if this, then that. Assuming, of course, if then that, and your email account and your phone number are still accurate when this lithium-ion battery finally starts to die.
Still, that's so much better than warning me at 3 o'clock in the morning that it's dead with
Yeah.
I don't have that problem, but I imagine if that's something that's been happening to you, this would be a godsend, right?
Yep. Especially when you find the one that's going bad. This would not only tell you
I hate that.
it's going bad, but like literally locate it, like which detector's going off.
Right.
So you're not spending days looking for it.
Not spending days with your 3-year-old waking up howling is a cool thing.
So, Scott, what kinds of things have you been seeing from the outside? Maybe Jenny or Patrick have seen them.
So we talked about Withings earlier. They're other, what they call it, the Withings Go, was it called?
That was the sensor we talked about, right?
Yeah, the sensor's pretty cool, but what really caught my eye was this new thing they're calling the Withings thermometer. It's essentially a temporal thermometer. You hold it up to the side of your head, and it takes very accurate readings of your temperature, logs this stuff, lets you use apps and stuff to be able to log it for your doctor. So let's say you've got, I don't know, a chronic problem with high fever, or you've got just the straight-up flu, or your kid. So it feels like a good thing for parents. But instead of getting a thermometer, trying to jam it under the kid's tongue and have them hold it there and not be upset and gag him or whatever, or put it in other unmentionable places, you can just stick this thing right up to the side of their head, and it's going to give you very accurate information for about $100. Yeah, it's not as cheap as something you'd buy at the pharmacy, but it seems pretty cool to me. And having this sort of Wi-Fi connected device with along the lines of all of their other stuff, their smart scale and everything else, seems like a nice product to add, and one that's actually useful and not just not just flash in the pan.
Jenny, you got your eyes on it, didn't you?
I did. I saw it at CES Unveiled on I guess it was Monday night. I got it. And it was pretty good. It was very subtle. You just put it up to your temple right here, and it glows when it's ready. And I felt like that's a much more soothing experience for a kid when they're stressed out and feverish than being like, oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm jamming this into the bottom of your tongue. I'm so sorry, I don't know.
Well, you don't even have to wake them up. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. You just hold it there, wait for it to glow, and it's your temporal artery, which is the most accurate place on your body for accurate temperature gauging. Like, cool. And it's less invasive. They don't even have to wake up, like Jenny said. I mean, it just seems like a no-brainer if you're a parent.
To me, it represents like that simple, incremental, like how can we do to make life a little bit better for people? That's what I love about CES, as opposed to some of the stuff you have to wade through. Is every once in a while, it's just something that works a little bit better than it did before.
Yeah, I also like, the only other product I'd mention is this Spec Pocket VR. It's essentially a foldable Google Cardboard, but it's a virtual reality headset. So I don't know that it's on par with something you might get with Gear VR, with Oculus and Samsung, but this thing will use multiple phones, including Samsung lines of phones and iPhones, all sizes. And the cool thing about it is it collapses kind of accordion style and works as a durable case. A little thicker than you get from most of your cases, obviously, but a nice durable case, rubber edging and all that. And then when you want to use it as a VR set, you just pop the thing out, and suddenly you're using a thing that's at least spec'd like a Google Cardboard type arrangement, and get those VR experiences sort of on the go. I think that just looks like a pretty nifty idea. It's about $70. That's not that much more than a durable case from anyone else you'd find at a store. And seems actually kind of convenient as opposed to trying to carry a separate piece of hardware around with you if you wanted to take it on the road.
Have not seen it. Will keep my eyes open.
All right.
Yeah,
go ahead, Jenny.
I was just going to say, the only other cool thing I did today was actually I helped out another broadcast and got to interview the FAA administrator, Michael Puerta, because he's here, they just opened registration for drones, and so he's here, making the case. And you can listen to Marketplace Tech to hear the actual interview later today, but let me tell you something. I sat there and I listened to this guy talk to the host, and they really want to get drones right. And they want to get it right for two reasons. One, because it's a really great area, but they want to keep planes flying safely and happily in the air and over fires and doing all the things that planes need to do, while at the same time having this great new both commercial and consumer growth in aviation. And so I came away reasonably impressed with sort of their commitment and their understanding that this is a big thing and they don't want to mess it up.
All right. I believe that's what they believe. I think the frustration has been always with the FAA, and this goes back to cell phones on planes, are they overdoing it? But then there's always the tendency to want to say, well, I'd rather they overdo it than underdo it.
Every time I think they're overdoing it, I think about the drones that were flying over the fire, preventing the fire, dropping water onto. It's just I'm all for it.
Then the question becomes: are the rules they're putting into place going to prevent that sort of thing from happening?
Yeah.
No, but it will make it really easy for people to figure out where to steal drones out of my house. Or to target houses to break in to steal expensive equipment. It'll make it easy to spoof drones so that you can get people in trouble if you can get a hold of their number. It'll make it. If they want to register the drones, they should register the drones, and they should actually make it. I don't know. I'm having a Darren moment. You've all heard it. I'm going to stop now. You've heard it all from Darren.
Let's get to our pick of the day from Lisa Bobin, who calls herself senior analyst, or whatever we are calling Patreon supporters this week. Call yourself whatever you want. I mean, we have an analyst level, but if you're supporting the show, you get to choose. It says, I stumbled upon this website that analyzes the reviews submitted on Amazon and reports back on the likelihood that they may be fake. It's called fakespot.com. I tested it with a few products that I have bought and reviewed myself, and the results are really interesting. It returns a result reported as the percentage of likelihood that the reviews are genuine. It also provides data as to how that percentage result was calculated, sample reviews, and even a word cloud showing the most common terms used to describe the product. There's a Chrome extension for the website. I haven't tried that. It's just a personal preference, she says. She doesn't tend to use Chrome extensions. But you might want to check it out. I sort of do this on my own when I look through reviews, but it's cool to have another point of reference, fakespot.com.
Oh, I love this. I always wonder, especially with something new, you just don't even an app on an app store that's $1, even small things like that. You're like, these first 3 reviews sound like dudes working on the game or whatever. And I'd love to have a way to with whatever product it is, have a better idea of what is crap and what isn't.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
thank you, Lisa, for sending that along. Fakespot.com. Send your picks to us, folks. Feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com. You can find more picks at dailytechnewsshow.com/picks. Real quick message from Alan in California, who heard us talking about the Nikon 360-degree camera. By the way, tons of 360-degree cameras at CES. Nikon probably getting a lot of attention because they're one of the few that's doing it with a front and back lens. And Alan says, hey, you guys didn't mention another product that competes with it called the Ricoh Theta S, which was released back in October. It's also a dual lens 360-degree compact consumer-grade still and video camera. I got one for Christmas myself. The Nikon Key Mission has better specs, and it's ruggedized, and it shoots 4K video, not just 1080p. I didn't find its still image resolution online, and I think 4K might still be too low res for capturing the full sphere. You only get an impressionist view of the action. With my 1080p Ricoh Theta S, I shot a beach volleyball game from one of the net poles. You can see the players clearly, but you can't recognize their faces. The pixel density of 4K is only double 1080p in each dimension. Probably still not very clear. But he wanted to point out, if you're looking for another option there, maybe a little cheaper, theta360.com has already been out. And it's got that cool dual lens thing.
Nice. And you got that for Christmas?
Alan did, yeah.
Oh, okay. There you go. Nice.
Yeah. It was such a convincing read, you thought I got it.
Yeah, when I heard that, I went, wait a minute, Tom got a new camera? I got all excited about nothing.
Yeah, no. I got to go on vacation for Christmas. That was my present. And Patrick, before we let you go, any other items that are kicking around in your head? Anything else you wanted to throw out there that you'd seen?
Oh my goodness! New Matters Mod T 3D printer. It's $399. Unlike a lot of the inexpensive printers we've seen, it seems to be built to not fall apart. I will say I was excited about Hunter's sort of Wi-Fi Internet of Things enabled fan, in part because I got to talk to one of their engineering geeks, and I feel like nobody's going to be hacking into my house through the fan. 10,000 other things. I could go on forever, so I'm just going to stop and thank you for having me on the show. Tech Things, Shannon. Did you say Shannon's on tomorrow, or? No, I was confused. So. My confusion. Shannon and I are shooting an episode of Tech Thing. It'll go live on Friday.
No, she's not on the show tomorrow because she's shooting a show with you.
That would make sense. I'm just going to sit here in shame now. But we
will have Shannon on as soon as she's available. Trust me.
It sounds good. No, it's been interesting. There's a lot more interesting things here than I thought there would be, which makes me very happy.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of what I know is a really busy schedule to chat with us as well. And thank you, Jennie Josephson, for corralling things and helping make them happen. Any last minute thoughts about CES from you?
I'm very, very tired, Tom.
I totally understand. That means it's working. That's what CES does to you.
Yes, I will say though, it's been one of those CESs where I was definitely in the convention center, but I've never made it to the floor, and I'm hoping that right after we get off this, I will be able to actually look at things.
Yeah, no, that was always the way with me too. As I'd go to the press conferences, I'd go to the announcements. People would come by the CNET stage or the Twit stage, depending on what era we're talking about. But I almost never got to walk the floor. Scott Johnson, thank you as well. What's going on with you these days?
Oh, I love CES Week. Thanks for having me today, as always. Just a lot of getting the new year kicked off right. A lot of stuff happening. If people want to follow the goings on, people should be getting their books. By the way, my myextralife.com compilation book shipped to over 38 countries and every state in the U.S. So I'm pretty stoked about all that, except that international shipping is ridiculous expensive. But anyway. Let's neither here nor there. What matters is the book is on its way. If you're waiting for it, you should see it soon. We're shipping them every day, fast as we can get our little hands into the mail. And thanks everybody for their huge support on that. So yeah, just working on new projects. You can follow all of that at Scott Johnson on Twitter or at frogpants.com for everything else.
Thank you, everyone who supports the show. dailytechnewsshow.com/support. If you get any value out of what we're doing here, we just ask you to give a little bit of that value back. Even if it's just $1 a month, it helps us to pay for things like Jennie to fly to CES. It helps pay for our bandwidth and lets us do the show. The show would not exist without our fine patrons. So we thank every single one of them. Patreon.com/DTNS. Stay tuned if you're listening to the audio version for a special CES report from Allison Sheridan. Or if you're watching the video, you can find that report in the treasure chest. That's available for Patreon backers at the $5 level or above. Or I don't think she sent me a link this time, but maybe we'll try to get a link in the show notes for you as well. Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. You can give us a call, 512-59-DAILY. That's 512-593-2459. Catch the show live Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern at alphageekradio.com and diamondclub.tv. And visit our website at dailytechnewsshow.com. Back tomorrow with Justin Robert Young. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Woo!
Hey!
Did that.
Day one CES, always the longest show.
Yeah. I hope
Longest day of the year.
take Patrick's phone away for all that data he used up today.
Oh, man. Sorry, man.
No, it's okay. Yes.
Chock full of good stuff, Patrick. Thank you so much. That's exactly what we needed. You and Jennie brought the things that we wouldn't be able to have if we weren't there. So I can't thank you enough.
No, it was my pleasure. No, it's good. Yeah, it's good to talk about the shiny things. I forgot to talk about the thing I was thinking was AVXL. Robert and I are finally hard launching AVXL this week.
Oh,
so
cool.
We put our first 3 episodes up last week.
Well, if we can coordinate it, maybe we can get you and Robert on together on DTNS.
That'd be hysterical.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's been.
I didn't know you guys were even working on that. That makes me all excited. I missed that stuff.
We like started at like November 21st last year, and then we were both doing all sorts of crazy things, and we finally beat it into submission and got we recorded our first 3 episodes way earlier this year, and then finally got it all together to get it live. So, and I was like, okay, we're gonna hard launch it at CES. So, yeah, that'll be one of my giant. Like, I've got to do Tested Tech Thing, AV Excel, and This Week in Computer Hardware on Thursday. So. I'm going to be really happy to be alive by about 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. I'm not dead.
Don't catch any weird diseases. I always hate CES diseases. They're the worst.
Oh yeah.
I caught strep 2 years.
So if we're plugging things for people, we're plugging things. I should tell you that Molly Wood interviewed the CEO of Oculus Rift.
Wow.
And that's going to be on the air when? Today? Oh, it's airing live right now in Southern California. You can go download it on a podcast.
For
Marketplace. So
Sweet.
marketplace.org.
Great.
CEO of Oculus Rift. Her engineer got to wear the glasses. Everything was great. It was a good day
awesome.
for everyone here.
Very cool. Well, tell Molly hi for everybody.
Hi from everybody.
Hi, Molly.
Kisses.
That's awesome. I'll have to go listen to it. I really like her work on there. I was already
she's
kind of
doing a bang-up job on the marketplace.
As always.
Yeah.
As always.
No surprise there.
Less.
I'll tell you who's lucky in that interview is Palmer.
Yeah, that's Palmer.
He got to talk to Molly Wood.
That's right. I can't see show titles because I'm using the only device available to me in this internet hellhole to be live. So someone else could look at showbot.tv, and that would make me happy.
Don't everybody jump at once. Virtual Makeouts, Fridge open source software, Frost. Can we get a T in there? Fridge open source technology, Frost. No? Okay. The Internet of Stupid. Ace Detect has 2 turntables and a lot of microphones.
That's a long one, but I kind of like it.
I know.
It's not bad.
Yeah, I was uploading the Allison Sheridan thing to archive.org so I could throw it into the rundown. Rainbow Vonnet, obviously. Anybody got a favorite? This refrigerator has a boss level.
Ooh, I kind of like that. That's very CES.
Virtual Makeouts.
That's not bad.
Yeah, that's the winner. That's the leader right now.
That's the leader?
Yeah. Not too Chevy.
That's just someone who knows how to stroke both of our stupid dad jokey ways.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
That's really good.
Virtual Makeouts. I mean,
that's fine.
If we can get away with it legitimately, that's good SEO.
I agree.
I don't hear Jenny stopping me, so.
Nope.
That's because she's not listening right now. Virtual Makeouts it is. She's laughing and didn't leap towards the microphone.
Okay, good. Heck, squeeze me?
Well, Patrick, I hope that after all CES and you're totally pooped, you get more time in like Moab or something.
We're Shannon's going to Japan for 2 weeks in May, so I haven't had anything that resembles a proper vacation pretty much since November. Well, September last year.
Yeah.
So yeah, my goal is to get us at least 2 weeks of big nature. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
But yeah, I'm hoping we're way overdue for a Zion trip or anything involving Southern Utah, big nature, and places where my 3-year-old starts running towards cliffs is just perfecto.
It's the best, man.
Oh my goodness.
You're just a tool of big nature.
What is vacation?
Yeah, what's it?
What is vacation?
Well, much like the separation of church and state, some individuals have actually figured out a way to separate the bulk of their life from opportunities to recreate and relax, and these are called vacations. In some cultures, they're not universal. Many people disdain them. Tom, for example, has only taken one vacation in his life, and he said he hated it. This was earlier this year.
That's not even true.
I know, but it's fun to say things like that because
I
of
want
your
to go
face.
to vacation.
You do.
May I?
Yes, you may. But yeah, hopefully we'll get a couple weeks. Yeah, we're gonna go find big nature and get into the middle of empty and go to Mom's in Salina, Utah, because it's Mom's in Salina, Utah, and they have scones.
Gosh, Salina, I haven't been there in ages. It's still
One of the best. Oh, sorry.
little town.
Yeah, one of the best freaking places to buy boots in the United States is in Salina, Utah. I love the Western store there.
I think that's amazing.
There is only one. There's only 6 places that are open in Salina, Utah, in any given year. 4 if it's a bad year and all the mines have closed.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Well, that's a good time to go too. It's a nice time of year for all that.
It would be good. Maybe I can get the Airstream put together and I can be fully American vacation.
Wow.
Nice.
Oh
Look, I only have to change one name in the ID3 text because it's Patrick Beja. It becomes Patrick Norton.
Yay!
Well, then Tim Stevens becomes Scott
Transformers.
Johnson.
All right, I'm going to drop off only because we're going to a virtual reality pitching competition, and that sounds like fun.
It does sound like fun.
That does.
Yeah. Was it no? It's not virtual reality. It's it's the other only new thing here. It's the drones. What is it? We're going to something I don't even know what it is. The mobility pitch competition.
It's just like little rolly scooters.
Personalized robots and like.
It's sounding less and less interesting.
Making like no, she's already tossing aliens through the airlock in her mech costume. She looks so happy over there.
That sounds like fun.
It's robot chaos. We're going to robot chaos.
That sounds like way fun.
Yeah, and I'm going to take this opportunity to get what is apparently known as coffee, which I haven't had either. So.
Oh God, yes. Go rectify that.
Anyway, but yay, Patrick Norton, we made it work.
Oh, yeah, that was fun, Jenny. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Scott.
Thanks, man. It's good to talk to you.
Thanks, Internet.
Bye.
Talk to you guys soon.
Yeah.
Brush your feet.
See you, man.
Don't
Be
get
safe.
sick.
Bye.
Don't eat the snow. There's no snow there. What have I said? What have I done?
Don't eat any of the snow, yellow or otherwise.
Are you still running online?
Yes, I am still. You can see the little live bug right up there. But I'm going to end it
yes,
now. So goodbye, everybody.